What's going on, Two Knicks Chicks family? I'm your girl, Lady and the Chef. Welcome back to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. Rolling solo today, but as always, a huge shout out to Diva Locks. I hope you feel better. But listen, we have things to unpack. We have things to talk about. You guys already know how I feel when the Knicks do not play good defense and they play poor defensively against the elite teams. And I want to dive deeper into that because I think that this is an issue that has been something that's been very concerning for me. I did have a conversation. Actually, Diva Locks and I were watching a game together. We were both on the phone together, and we kind of had a little bit of a healthy back and forth about pretty much the game on Friday against Cleveland. And her argument was pretty much that, listen, the Knicks probably would be looking a little better if they had Mitchell Robinson on the floor. My thing is, and I've said this over the last two episodes, is that I want us to stop using excuses for who the Knicks don't have on the floor when we're playing against elite teams. And I'm going to be very honest with you guys. From what I've seen, the Knicks look good when they're playing against teams who seem to be on the Knicks level or getting close to that level where the Knicks are. You notice the games are quite close. Sometimes the Knicks have their way and they're able to break away and get a nice, comfortable lead and do their thing and demolish teams. But of most parts, you watch when we played against teams like Brooklyn, we play against Charlotte, we play against Detroit. The games Atlanta, we tend to be very close. The score tends to be very close. The Knicks barely scrape by in those games and barely win those games as well, right? So I think that, the Knicks seem to do good against teams who are at their level, or if not close to their level or getting there, your Magics and teams like that. But I notice when the Knicks play against the better teams in the league. Now, don't get me wrong. The Knicks will have those one or two teams who they just have their number. Denver, for example, the Knicks have had their way against them, right? But Denver's been very hot. I spoke about this before where I said that there are going to be teams after All-Star break who are going to go on a run, who are going to do what they need to do to finish off this season strong. I want to preface by saying I'm not panicking with the Knicks. I think the Knicks will finish off strong in third seeding in the East. However, there's still a bigger concern there in that the Knicks continue to struggle against the better teams in the league. You can't beat Cleveland, you can't beat Boston, and you can't beat OKC. This is an issue. It's an issue. Considering that the Knicks haven't had the whole man down situation like we had before, the Knicks are having a good season. I'm not going to take that away from them. The offense has been elite. Guys have stayed healthy for the most part. We haven't really had any issues as far as that. And the Knicks have been doing good considering they haven't had Mitchell Robinson on the floor as well. But I think that, like I said, there's still a lingering problem going on. The Knicks can't beat the better elite teams in the league. So if you can't beat them in the regular season, how the hell are you going to beat them in the playoffs? You can't. I'm not saying it's impossible. And then it makes me go down a whole rabbit hole because I don't know if it's that we're missing pieces, which we are. I'm going to backtrack on that. We are missing pieces. But then I wonder how there's a heavy Mitchell Robinson fan base who believe when Mitchell Robinson comes back, the defense is going to step up. Do I think that the defense is going to look better? To a degree, yes. I think that Mitchell Robinson, prime example in the Friday's game against Cleveland, I think he would have made a huge difference because the Knicks had no paint presence. And when you really watch that game, Cleveland was taking their time on the offense. They were setting up, doing what they wanted to do. The Knicks just, for some reason, the Knicks are god awful, not just on the perimeter, but playing man-to-man defense. They're just not good. They're always a step or two, sometimes three, too slow. Guys get right past them. And the other thing that I noticed when the Knicks were on offense, they tend to allow teams' defense to dictate how they're going to play on offense. I saw maybe 2 passes, maybe 3 if you were lucky, and then the Knicks were settling for a shot. And it made me realize that one of the things that the Knicks are truly missing, the Knicks don't have a guy on this team except for Brunson. He's the only exception, not because he's the captain, but because he's proven he can do it. The Knicks don't have a guy on this team that's a go-getter who can get the ball and get to the basket hot. You watch Garland get to the basket. You watch Spider get to the basket. They just got to the basket by any means necessary. You watch when we play Boston, Brown, Tate, they get to the basket however they feel like getting to the basket by any means necessary. SGA, he gets to the basket. And he don't even move in fast pace. He's just moving slow-mo and still finds his way to get to the basket. The Knicks do not have that. And it's unfortunate that they don't have that, because you watch when we play against, and not even just the elite teams, you watch when the Knicks play against other teams in the league, these other teams have guys who can just get the rock and get to the basket. They're able to finesse their way to the basket. They have elite footwork. They can, pounce that ball down and get to the hoop. We don't really have a guy like that except for Brunson who can do that on this team. And hence, this is why you see when we played against Cleveland, why they only had a Brunson and Cat show. Because the Knicks don't have guys who can really, the Knicks have a heavy flux of like players who are catch and shoot. Maybe they could do a crossover to get you a little spacing and get the shot off that they want, but that's not enough. We need guys who can like get to the basket, they can protect the ball, not on a fast break, not when Karl Anthony Towns throws a football pass, a baseball pass down the other end of the floor, and then you could get a fast break run, cool. Not when guys are cut into the basket. I'm talking about when Brunson passed you that ball, you ain't even got to pass him the ball back, because you like, I'm gonna make my way to the basket and I'm gonna score and I'm gonna keep us in this game. I'm gonna put some points on the board. The Knicks don't have a guy like that. We need a guy who can get the ball, do whatever he needs to do, cross, dribble. It don't got to be nothing fancy, but can get that ball to the basket, draw the foul, get the and one. If not, he can get to the free throw line and not hit the free throws. The Knicks don't have that. And that's a problem that I'm noticing when we play against, again, not just the elite teams, but a lot of other teams. The Knicks don't have guys like that on this team. And forget the stats. The Knicks got outscored every quarter. First quarter, 41-29. Second quarter, 36-21. Third quarter, 33-29. Fourth quarter, 32-46. Karl Anthony Towns had 23 points, 7 rebounds. Mikal Bridges, 14 points, played the same amount of minutes as Karl Anthony Towns, 29 minutes. Jalen Brunson had 26 points. I'm not even going to go over what everybody else had, because it's a non-factor at this point. I don't see where anybody else did anything. Miles Deuce McBride had 5. Payne 5. Daddy A 7. OG 5. OG still not fully healthy. Precious Achiuwa 7 points, 10 rebounds. It's not enough. It's not enough. Then when you look at the field goal percentage, the Knicks was at 47%. Cleveland was at 60%. The Knicks shot 10 for 28 from the three-point line at 35%. Cleveland was 19 for 37 at 51%. Another issue that I've been saying, it's going to come and bite the Knicks in the butt in the postseason, the free throws. The Knicks were 11 for 18 at 61%. Cleveland was 11 for 15, 73%. The Knicks got out-rebounded 47 to 32. 25 assists to 30, Cleveland's 38. Cleveland had 12 steals. The Knicks had 8. And the Knicks had 16 turnovers. Points in the paint was, the Knicks got demolished, 66 to 38. And you can't expect the Knicks to win games if you only have three guys in double figures. And again, I'm still trying to pinpoint why Mikal Bridges has been um he's been playing in the background. And I don't think they gave up all these picks and for him to play in the background. Like, we know what he could do, but I think playing in the background it's just not going to cut it. And almost makes you wonder, like, well, should the Knicks bring in a guy who can give you more offensively and can get to the basket, play good defense, and then maybe have Bridges come off the bench? Because the Knicks absolutely got embarrassed by Cleveland on Friday. They lost 142 to 105. That loss, right, because they got to play another one at 1. It's an early matinee game today against Boston. That loss on Friday against Cleveland, the Knicks are now 0-6 against the top teams in the league, which is Cleveland, Boston, and OKC. And then they've lost all of those games by double digits or more. Cleveland, 110 to 104, right? That was the first time we played them. Then we just lost to them 142 to 105. They lost by 37 points. Then they had about 2 losses where they lost by at least 25 points. That was OKC. We played them. Matter of fact, I have it written down. Yeah. So that was OKC. We played them January 10th, 126 to 101. And then Boston, we played them February 8th, 131 to 104. Then they lost another one by 23. That was Boston again, 132 to 109 back in October 22nd. So the average margin of defeat against these teams is at least 21 points. It's too many. And high scoring games too. They lost to OKC twice, Cleveland twice, Boston twice. Now, I will preface by saying that the Knicks was shorthanded, right? They didn't have Josh Hart. They didn't have Mitchell Robinson. And then you had a not 100% OG Anunoby. I get that. However, when we lost those other 5 games, because minus the Friday game, the Knicks did have Josh Hart, who the Knicks do absolutely need. But I don't think that if Josh Hart played on Friday, it would have made a bigger difference. Maybe some. Same thing, I think, if Mitchell Robinson was there. I think it would have made somewhat of a difference. But I don't know if it would have changed the outcome, because here's the thing, and this is what I've been going back and forth with Diva Locks on, is that her thing is that she feels like the Knicks are going to have Cleveland's number in the postseason. Cleveland is a different team than they were 2 years ago when the Knicks handed them the business. They're not the same team. They figured out the formula. They're working well under their coach. And they're playing phenomenal, actually. It's just like Boston. They figured it out. I didn't have the Knicks going 2-0 this weekend. I said maybe 1-1. Maybe they can figure out and getting revenge against Boston. Because like I said, when you're playing against a team in a season series 3-4 times, you can't not beat them at least once. You got to figure out a way to beat these teams, actually. So, like I said, yeah, the Knicks didn't have Josh Hart. They had OG, but he's still not 100%. And I don't want OG to rush back either. And they didn't have Mitchell Robinson. Pretty much Friday was a Brunson and Town show, who both had good numbers. I think they combined for 49 on 32 shots. But the Knicks were a minus 27 and a 3-point column. and trailed by 27 at halftime. I remember halftime came and I immediately turned it because I was watching Unrivaled, which was a little bit more exciting to watch, to be honest, because it was just too painful to watch Knicks. I'm gonna be honest. I was watching Unrivaled, but I think that the bigger question that I wonder with this Knicks team, right, is when the Knicks acquired the perimeter trio of OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges, I'm wondering what was the full intent bringing those guys here? Like, was it to be a strength on this team defensively? Like, because we know what they could do offensively, but bringing them here, was it to be a strength on this team defensively? Because from the front office standpoint, because when I watch this team, I don't see it. I don't see the defense. I see it at times. Again, we see sprinkles of it here and there in teams. You see, but again, I think that we see the Knicks have a good defensive performance when they're playing against teams that are either at their level or like have taken a step from last year to this year to be a better team and can match up with the Knicks. That's when I see the Knicks have a pretty good defensive effort. But when the Knicks play better teams in the league, they struggled against the Lakers, couldn't even beat them. And they didn't even have Luka then. So I don't know what is it going to take. I do think that the Knicks getting Mitchell Robinson back will help with paint protection for sure. I think that he adds another layer to them, and maybe having him there, Mitchell Robinson back, will maybe be infectious on the other guys on the team, and maybe they'll all want to step up and play better defense. I don't know. I hope that that's the case. But Mitchell Robinson cannot do it by himself. He's not the savior for this team defensively. He's not the end all be all for this team defensively. You're going to need the other four guys that are on the floor with him to play stellar defense, to play better defense. The defense on his team is just not good. It's not even just defense. It's not even just the perimeter. It's all around defense. At this rate, like Friday when I was watching the game, I'm like, damn, at this rate, the Knicks need to just play a zone because they can't play man-to-man defense. They can't. They're not good defensively. This Knicks roster is a strong offensive team. The offense is good. It's elite. But then there's some flaws in that, as I talked about at the top of this show, is that the Knicks don't have guys who are go-getters and can score one-on-one and get to the basket. I'm not talking about shoot the ball. We've seen that already. We have that already. You have Deuce McBride who could shoot. You have Josh Hart who could shoot. You have Mikal who could shoot. You have OG. I'm talking about get to the basket. So, and even when they were shooting, the Knicks were still off. So this is what I mean. You can't keep settling for shots. You got to drive to the basket at some point. And the Knicks don't have that. And I think that that's a pain point on this team as well. And it's funny because the Knicks rank just outside the bottom 10 in defensive efficiency. And those 6 losses against the elite teams, your Cleveland, Boston, OKC, the Knicks have surrendered an average of 126 points. I do think that this Knicks team have the pieces in place to be better defensively. I think that any team, you can make a really good defensive team because defense also wins games. It's not just offense. But I really wonder who is going to be the one to check this team to step up and be better defensively. Like, who's going to eventually call these guys out and say, got to be better. We suck defensively. Because at this rate, I'm gonna be honest with you, two Knicks Chicks family. I don't see the Knicks getting very far in the playoffs, and that's unfortunate. I've been saying this. I know it takes championship teams time. I know that this team has only been together for a year, but it still doesn't excuse that this Knicks team can be playing better defensively. I want us to cut out the excuses. I want us to cut out, well, they don't have Mitchell Robinson. They don't have this person. They don't. Enough. Enough. You still have guys that go out and play every night, right? So what is the excuse why collectively there's not more consistency and a better effort? Because honestly, Friday, the effort was just not there. It just was not there defensively. When the Knicks play against better teams, they look like rag dolls, getting bitch slapped to do whatever the other team is telling them to do. That's what the Knicks look like. Calling a spade here. The Knicks have to figure out how to be better defensively. They're not good defensively. Yeah, it's cool when you could play against Atlanta or Charlotte or these other teams and you could play good defense. But what happens when you play against the Lakers? When you play against Dallas, who you struggled against last season as well? When you play against Boston, OKC, Cleveland, because you just barely beat Atlanta and you barely beat Chicago because your defense isn't good. I always say a win is a win and I'll take it. But we have to stop dancing around this poor defensive effort by this Knicks team. And I'm all for knowing that some nights it's not going to be a team's night and that they're going to be off, players are going to be off. But I still think that when you look at this team on a game in, game out basis, the effort defensively sometimes it's just not there. And it's not going to cut it. You can't close out. You can't get stops. You can't protect the paint. You're not boxing out. That was another thing the Knicks wasn't doing. They weren't even boxing out. Garland shooting the ball was bouncing near the free throw line and nobody was grabbing it. Are you expecting Towns to grab it every time? Like, oh, because Josh Hart isn't here, nobody else is here to grab the ball. Come on. Miss me with that. The Knicks got to do better. Enough is enough. Shout out to the chat, Kareem Grant. Salute to you. Always showing love, tuning into us live. I appreciate you, Kareem. Kareem said, not going to hold you. I'm pretty upset with our team, but not to the point where I'm jumping off the ledge. I still believe in them, but I'm just overly frustrated with the inconsistency of our defense. Yeah, exactly. It's literally inconsistent. And this is an issue with the Knicks. They lack consistency. The Knicks also have a problem because they did this last year too. They'll have things that work in games and then they somehow move away from what's working. And I don't know why the Knicks do that. Why do you move away from what's working instead of keep utilizing it and applying it to the against the next opponent? I don't care if you play them on a back-to-back. Keep utilizing it because that's what's working. And the Knicks seems to have this thing where they move away from what's working from them, and then I don't understand. And then it's just like they forgot what they did that worked. It's very weird. It's very weird. Salute Wonder Woman. Shout out to you as well. Hit him up, NYNJ. Salute to you. Salute to Jay Boogie. He said, good morning, niece. And to my Knicks family, blessings, health, life, and happiness to you always. Respectfully, let's use the like button. You heard him. Hit that like button, y'all. Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's. Knicks family, we can win today. Yeah. This game today, I'm looking for the Knicks to get revenge because they struggled against this better team, right? So at some point, you got to say, all right, they can't beat us 3 times now. You lost to them twice. Boston twice. You lost to them in October 22nd, then again February 8th. You lost to Cleveland October 28th and then February 21st, just on Friday. And then same thing with OKC. You can't keep, you have to figure out a way to beat this team. You have to. You can't. Kareem said if they got an iHeart replacement in the beginning instead of using Sims as a band-aid, we might have been better off. I agree. And that was one thing that Diva Locks did mention when we were watching the game. I agree. Because Towns is not the rim protector that you're going to be looking for and what iHeart and Mitchell Robinson can do. He's just not. So I think the problem with that, and I spoke about this too at the top of the season, the Knicks put all their eggs in, the front office put their eggs in one basket. They were so laser focused in and owned on getting iHeart that caused the domino effect, and that all the remaining bigs who were good, who could have been a fit on this Knicks roster playing under Tibbs, they all got taken by other teams, which is why last minute they were able to get that deal and get Karl Anthony Towns over here. He literally hopped off a plane, was in a scrimmage jersey the next day. But because they were so laser focused in on getting Isaiah Hartenstein and keeping him here, which I didn't really see that working, because it kind of reminded me of the whole business side of the deal when it came to Quickly. Quickly was like, yeah, this is my number. This is what I'm asking for. And Isaiah Hartenstein's stock went up. He played really well. He was looking to get the bag. And it was like, no, I'm not really trying to negotiate. Like, this is what I'm trying to make. Not to mention Isaiah Hartenstein doing a post press interview. And he mentioned how he didn't say it where he was bashing the Knicks, but the Knicks were almost like kind of boxing him into, well, this is what we want you to do, which is unfortunate because Isaiah Hartenstein could give you more than just blocking shots and a great passing and a hook shot. And from what he said, it seems like Tibbs and the coaching staff didn't want Isaiah Hartenstein shooting the ball. I'm not sure what that's about. Not sure what that's about. Hit him up at NYNJ said, I've been an advocate to trade for Bradley Beal, who's injury prone, and we already have that issue with Mitchell Robinson, and we have that issue with OG Anunoby. I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Salute Buck's thoughts. First time seeing you here. He said it also hurts us that our best player is our smallest player. Listen, that was another thing that I brought up too watching that game. The Knicks look so short against a lot of teams. Like, they have to stop getting these guys who are so short. It's really painful to watch. When you watch the Knicks, it's not just Brunson. It's a lot of the guys on the team. I'm like, it looks like me playing out there. Like, you can't be for real. And the thing is that certain players in the league, certain teams have figured out how to really own it and make it harder for Brunson to get the shots off and go to work with his footwork because he's short. You put a taller, quicker guy on him, it makes it so hard for Brunson to score. He finds a way, yes, but you look at like Deuce, you look at Campaign, a lot of these guys, they're so short. Even when I look at Precious Achiuwa, I'm like, when I'm watching him play against a lot of the other bigs on in games, I'm like, Sky, the Knicks have to like figure this out. We have too many short guys that don't have the length or the wingspan, the height to really be a matchup against these other teams defensively. To keep it a buck, we nearly lost to Chicago 3 straight. Exactly. My point exact. The Knicks barely beat Chicago. You barely just beat Atlanta recently. And you've had some barely wins against Charlotte as well. Teams that you should be beating. You do the same thing. They do the same thing when they play Boston. Barely beat Boston. Again, I think the Knicks, they play well when they play against teams that are like at their level or a little below. Because even the teams that have the crappiest record, I don't know what it is, but when they play the Knicks, it's like I think they feel like, well, yeah, we could take it to these guys. We could beat them. Why not? And it's like, it's a close match the entire game. And again, there's sometimes where the Knicks can kind of, extend the lead and they can get past teams and now they're up by 20, you know what I mean? And they got a nice comfortable lead in the remaining of the fourth quarter. But most times when you watch the Knicks play against Orlando, Atlanta, Charlotte, Chicago, the games are very close. Does it make for an exciting game? Yes. Does it make it stressful? Also, yes. But I think that like when you're barely beating these teams and you look at the scores a lot of times when you watch the season series matchups that they have against these teams, I'm not gonna say I don't know what's going on. It's part of it is the defense. Part of it is truly the defense. Wonder Woman said, I am trying to remain realistic and manage expectations based on where and who this team is. Yeah, and that's a great point. That's an excellent point. You truly do have to remain realistic and manage the expectations for this team. Like I said, I get that these guys have only been together for what 1 year playing together, right? And they found their rhythm, they found their footing. And for the most part, guys have been healthy. And I hope that it continues that way. We get Josh Hart back as soon as possible. OG can get back to 100%. I know we've had, Deuce McBride has been in and out of the lineup because of either illnesses or injuries, which sucks. Mitchell Robinson, we haven't had the whole season. I know he's close to coming back. So I get that, the injury side of it. And then I also get the makeup of a new team, which is also something I spoke about as well. Because now in the off season, if the Knicks, which I'm sure they're going to make moves, now you kind of take a few steps back because now you got to get back to the drawing board of finding that chemistry back with whatever group and roster of guys you add to the team. That and on top of, Thibodeau being stuck in his ways, and this team just doesn't look like a Thibodeau defensive team as teams are supposed to be known under Tibbs. But yeah, I absolutely agree, Wonder Woman. Like, I feel like I've managed my expectations as well. Like, I'm not giving up on this team. I'm not here to bash Knicks and be a negative Nancy. I'm being realistic. I'm going by the eye test. I know the stat sheet may say one thing, but when you out there physically playing a game, this is a different story. And I think that this Knicks team, again, I'm wondering who steps up and calls these group of guys out and say the defense stinks. We have to be better. We have to step it up. We have to lock in. We got to give a better concerted effort every night. It's just not there. And that's not going to cut it trying to get past the second round in the playoffs. It's not. It's not. Because even if they don't end up facing off against a Cleveland, Boston, OKC, you're eventually going to have to play them. Yes. But if you have issues playing against teams that are at your level or a notch or two below, okay, yeah, you get past round one. You get to round two. Where's the defense? Where's the defense at? So, and especially if we can have everyone healthy, to me, it should be no excuse why we feel like, okay, well, guys, we're looking really winded and gassed, and They didn't have any more energy. They didn't have nothing left to give. I don't want to hear the excuses anymore. I don't. I don't want to hear that we don't have Mitchell Robinson. We don't have this person. We don't have that person. I don't want to hear it anymore because I still stand by what I said. If you did have Mitchell Robinson, do I think that it would change things on the floor? Absolutely. But he can't be all five guys. He's one person. He's one person. He's one player. So how do the other four guys and then some on the roster step their game up defensively? Who's calling these guys out? This is what I'm saying. Like if you watching film, you can't just go, all right, we had a bad game on Friday. That was probably the Knicks' worst loss. Minus probably the second was the Boston game when we played them the first season opener. But you can't look at games like that and just be like, yeah, damn, you know, we ain't play good. You got to look at a lot of these games, every game, even the ones you win, and really break them down. But I think the Knicks really have to figure out, well, how do we step it up defensively? I don't know how do you turn that around. It's fixable. The guys on this roster is very much capable of playing great defense, but how do you turn that around? I don't know. Knicks need to make Monica McNutt permanent calling games. Clyde be acting like he's the other team's broadcaster. I don't feel like they have Clive enough to me. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they be trying to give I don't know. It's weird how they do. I guess they try to give people depending on the schedule, and they try to get people to and then maybe, you know, for example, like Monica McNutt, I'm sure she has other engagements aside from just broadcasting, whether it's on ESPN radio or with MSG and doing the post game coverage as well. She has other things going on. So I'm sure it's a scheduling thing, but yeah, I agree. It would be nice to hear Monica calling the games. You know, but it ain't gonna really happen to Breen or Clive step down. I feel like on a more permanent basis. Ajay salute. Ajay, you was holding it down on a Queen's Court. Um, excuse me, on Dope Soul Sports and Knicks Talk. I thought you did a really good job. You and Steph, hilarious. Hilarious. Your banter back and forth. You guys always have me cracking up. And it's good to see Steph back. But that was a great episode. I did listen to that. Always a good show with you guys. He said, we need to be realistic and realize that the Knicks is just not as good as Cleveland or Boston, plain and simple. Yeah. Yeah. And this is one of the things that I was saying to Diva. Shout out to her again. I told her she's convinced that once they get Mitchell Robinson back, she feels like they can take Cleveland. It's not, Cleveland is not the same team that the Knicks played 2 years ago. They're not. They have gotten a lot better. And the Knicks have gotten better as well. But because the Knicks are still trying to figure out the right pieces, the Knicks are like, they're still a puzzle. You know, they may have the pieces, but they don't got all the pieces. So there's still a couple of missing pieces. They'll have a piece and then they realize they don't fit. And then they try to get a different piece. That's where they're at right now. They're trying to figure out, well, does this guy fit here? If not, okay, well, we're going to try to tweak it. And they're going to do some tweaks at the end of the season for sure. They are, because the pressure is there for this team to win and get back to, you know, get back to winning. Winning, but winning in the postseason as well. So, yeah, I just think that I think we have. I sent the link, J Boogie. We don't just lose to them. Yeah, the Knicks get absolutely demolished. They get embarrassed. They get embarrassed against these better teams, and that's something that the Knicks have to figure out, how to not allow teams to just. The Knicks look like rag dolls when they're playing against Cleveland's, Boston, OKC's. They just I don't know what happens. It just, what's funny too, I noticed it seems like it's always just Brunson is always ready and locked in. Towns, I will say as well, but the other guys like Mikel, I'm tired of seeing him playing in the background. I don't understand. He's like he kind of like disappears. I don't know if he's more focused on he's trying to play good defense on who they have him guarding. I know he has a tough matchup every night along with OG. And OG too, even before the injuries, he had his moments where he was up and down where he would kind of be in a slight funk and then he would get out of it and then it's like you just don't know. Parish Duggar salute said Tibbs has ruined us. He never keeps guys over 6'6". He keeps choosing to only play small lineups instead of matching up size. Cleveland plays big, and we should have matched it with Cat and Huckporty starting. Yeah, but that's a trust issue on Tibbs. I agree. I think a good coach can make the right adjustments, right? You got to do it by game situation. It doesn't mean Huckporty has to start every game, but listen, I don't know. I think that maybe he could have. You know how I feel about playing Huckporty and Kolick. They're not going to get better unless you give them the playing time. But I think when it comes to Tibbs, it's about him making the right adjustments to, you know, play the right guys in games. Kyrie Irving will be a free agent next season if he opts out. Yeah, that's if he wants to play for the Knicks. I think that's the issue a lot of times with players. I feel like now guys are more comfortable coming and playing with the Knicks, whereas like a few years ago, guys was like, no, no, thank you. But I don't know. I don't know. Because I feel like the way this front office works, you can never say never. You never know who they're going to end up snagging and bringing to this team, right? RJ Salute said Mitch is useless when Porzingis is 30 feet from the basket. Yeah, I think sometimes that's an issue with Mitch. I think one of the reasons why the Knicks have been successful this season is because having a big like Towns who can stretch the floor for the Knicks has been very helpful. But with Mitch, two things. Sometimes when Mitch is on the floor, he's kind of in the way in the paint when you have guys who are trying to drive to the basket and attack the paint. Mitch can be in the way. And then other times when you have a guy like a Porzingis, like a Jokic, like a Towns, if he was on another team, Mitch, it's hard for him to guard those guys out there in the three. Mitch likes to stay in the paint, which I'm all for. But now what happens if you're not able to challenge that guy from shooting the three and getting off the shot that he wants? I don't know. I mean, how does that work? So I think that, and shout out to Steph, I heard her say how Tibbs has to be very careful how he utilizes Mitch when he comes back. And I agree. I think from a standpoint of you want to preserve him because you need Mitchell Robinson for the playoffs. You don't need him getting injured. And I think also just teams know how to capitalize when we have Mitchell Robinson on the floor, not just for the hack of Mitch, but you know that there's a fragile area there on the Knicks, defensively and offensively. And then I also think you got to worry about Brunson. Like, is he gonna make those lob passes to Mitch and give him the ball? Because that's another issue that we have. Like, I don't want to say issue, but I hope that Brunson utilizes that. Just like I want to see him utilize the pick and roll more with him and Carl Anthony. I want to see him utilize that with Mitchell Robinson. So I don't know. We'll see. Hit him up. NYNJ said, I don't see Josh Hart, Mitch, Deuce, or Tibbs here next season if things go left. I don't know. I did read an article that the Knicks are interested in Giannis, and the Knicks would give up. I know it was Deuce. I think it was Josh, and I can't remember who was the other third player. But I don't know. I think sometimes when you as a team, when you bring over like a superstar player like that or a really good player, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. You could bring two guys together, doesn't mean that the chemistry is going to be there. It doesn't mean they could like each other, but maybe it just doesn't work. Sometimes it does, and it's like, wow, this is great. Like bringing Towns over here with him and Brunson, it works out. It doesn't always work. So I don't know. Kareem Grant, so Huck would have been good, would have been a good asset if Tibbs played him in the beginning and let him work out his mistake and build up. Yeah, I agree. And that's the problem. Like, I also say that because I think Tibbs should have learned from last year, right? Granted, a lot of the bench guys had to come in and play the game. But I think that if you play guys like Huck Porty, you play guys like Kolek, God forbid the Knicks have a man down situation and you have to bring in one of those guys. At least they're prepared because they played more than enough games throughout the regular season where they've made enough mistakes. They know where to be. They know how to gel with these other guys on the floor that they can play and handle it. You never know if you're going to need one of them in the playoffs. You never know. Like we were so lucky that Brunson was healthy the entire season last year. So it's like I think that you have to be prepared. Yeah, you got Precious Achua, but you play Huck Porty. Give him the time, give him the minutes so he can continue to develop and build chemistry with the other guys outside of practice. Like I'm talking about in real game situations. I want to see Huck Porty get the minutes. But with Tibbs, it's a trust issue, and that's a big problem. So I don't know. I hope that this is something that you know, Tibbs will figure out and be better at, but who knows? The Knicks who played today, they play Boston. They played today at 1. It's an early game. Boston is sitting at 40-16 in second place. The Knicks are sitting at third at 37-19. The Knicks have to get on point and start winning some games because yeah, it's looking like Indiana's they're right on their necks. So what's going on, Jay Boogie?
Hey, what up? What up, niece? How you doing? Blessings, health, happiness to everybody. On not just a Sunday, it's another day of life, man. Hope everybody's in the greatest form of health. Anybody going through anything, we don't pray that you go through it. We pray that you get through it. Shout out to the chat. Another reminder, please make sure you're hitting the like buttons. Please make sure it's right there for you. Everybody that's on board right now, touch that like button if you haven't. Make sure you do that before you get off, before the show shuts down. Shout out to everybody. But I just wanted to come rock with y'all for a few minutes. I won't be watching the game right now. I'm on my work ethic right now. Got my, got my
Yeah,
gloves
I was
on.
wondering what you was doing. I was like, you working or you grilling?
Nah, I'm not grilling. I don't do no cooking. That's not my job. My job is making sure the refrigerator is full, the cabinets is full. So when my wife feel like she want to cook whatever, just go in there, look in there, do what you want to do. When you don't want to cook, we eating out. That's my job. I
Right.
don't do no cooking or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But I just want everybody to know, you know what I'm saying, that really, really, we got a real good team, y'all. The only problem is we don't have a ready to be great team. And Boston is already great. Cleveland is on the verge of to becoming, they're ready to become great. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like OKC, those teams are ready to become great. They are established in their situation, what they got going on as a whole. You know what I'm saying? We still have some things that we need to do. But the great thing about it is we do have a great fan base. We do have a great organization. We do have those things. The culture is good right now. We just need to elevate in a few areas to become ready to be great. You know what I'm saying? We strive to make moves. Shout out to Leon for what for the moves he do try to make. You know what I'm saying? It's just that we haven't reached that point and reached that peak yet. So I just say that to let everybody know this season is still a good season. You know what I'm saying? It steps to this journey. You don't win a championship without having the journey. The journey all started in a lot of ways, you know what I'm saying? The bad draft picks, you know what I'm saying? The booing at the drafts, the bad contracts, the booing at the games, the begging the James Dolan, please sell the team and all that. We don't shout those things out no more. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good step in the right direction. Yeah, we all want us to beat some of these upper teams, you know what I'm saying? But they're a little bit ahead of us. So we got to continue on fighting as a whole and not giving up on this squad and let them continue on, you know what I'm saying, figuring out the things that need to be done. Leon he's not hesitant to make moves and push buttons on what he's trying to do to bring a championship here. I know we want to, you know what I'm saying, make sure we contend against some of these teams, you know what I'm saying? I know we've been getting clobbered against these heavyweight fights, you know what I'm saying? But we're still in the right direction. I do believe we're going to go in there swinging hard today, you know, pause. I do believe that we're going to go in there and come up with a major fight because they hear the rumblings, you know what I'm saying, about us as the fan base. And them guys, they hear it in their heart. They want to do something, you know what I'm saying? But still in all, this is a great season. This is a great, you know what I'm saying, organization, more important. We got great office personnel and everything, you know what I'm saying? We just got to get over, you know what I'm saying, this extra thing that's holding us back as a whole, as a team. So I just, just wanted to throw a little bit of spirits, and blessing and everything. I know we so anxious. It's been a long time, you know what I'm saying? A long time since we've done anything, you know what I'm saying? But still in all, it's a journey with it. It don't happen overnight. It don't happen over a week. It don't happen over months. And it hasn't happened over a year. And it hasn't happened over a decade. So right now, you know what I'm saying? Let's just continue on believing and having faith. It is a Sunday, having faith on the team, you know what I'm saying? Let them continue on growing, you know what I'm saying? Let the Leon figure it out, you know what I'm saying? But who knows? I still believe we can win today. I do believe when Mitch come back, I do believe when Josh Hart gets a little healthier, and whatever we're going to do after March 1st, whether we're going to let somebody go and sign somebody that's brought out, or if we're going to bring TJ up, I don't know what it is. But I do believe going into the playoffs, this is a hard and difficult team to beat 4 out of 7 games. You have to be on your top A game to beat this team right here we got in New York 4 out of 7 games, So I don't care about anything that's behind us. It's just Cleveland and Boston, they just in position and they doing what they do. But like Boston is already great. They've been becoming great for like the last 3 to 4 years, and they won the championship. And Cleveland sees what they need to do. They got a whole complete team. They got a starting 5. They got players coming off the bench. They got a good coaching staff, and they got a good organization, and their culture is good. And this is what we want to have. We want to have a good starting 5. We want to have a good bench. We want to have a good coaching staff. Our office is great, and our culture is great. So it's just a couple of things that we got to get together and put together, you know what I'm saying? And I think we're really, really close, more than being further and further away. But God bless you all. I just want to come up here and rock with y'all, and especially my little niece right here, because she always holding it down, doing what she do to the fullest, you know what I'm saying? So, I just respectfully need to come up here, you know what I'm saying? Make sure I hang out with my niece. I don't know where my sister, I heard she went shopping. Can I get a loan? You got them taxes back? Can I get where's Diva Locks at? You can't shop all the time. Come on now. Cash at me, you know what I'm saying? You know my number. Cash at me. Use it. But God bless everybody, man.
Salute to you, Jay Boogie, for always rocking and showing love and calling me outside of the show, and just always showing love and being that positive beam of light for this Knicks team. I don't know. I had the Knicks 1-1 for this weekend. I'm hoping that they use this as a revenge game.
Right.
And I'm curious, what are the pieces that the Knicks need to elevate this team? We've talked about, a wing, another center. And then I think outside of that, the next question is the defense. How do you become better defensively as a whole? Because you can put the right pieces in place.
Right.
And this team is good, really good. They're elite offensively, but it's our defense that's still an issue. And then I'm sure you heard me speaking about how we still need another player who can get busy and get to the basket like Brunson. We
Mm-hmm.
don't really have guys on this team that can do that. And I think that's something that is a pain point for this team that can be corrected for sure. But I think that, yes, I'm 100% sure the Knicks are going to make a move in the offseason. And, they're like a puzzle still. The front office is great. I agree 100% with that. They're still trying to put a piece, take a piece away, add this piece here to the team, to the roster. But I think that even once you do that, okay, they're gonna make some moves and maybe swap out one or two guys, bring in somebody. But now that brings you back maybe two, 3 steps behind, because now they gotta reconvene for the chemistry and work on that chemistry and get that back together for next season. Um, and then even once they do that, my biggest thing is the defense. And I think that that's been an issue with this team. And who's gonna call these guys out? You're watching film all the time, not just when you lose in dramatic fashion and you get embarrassed against elite teams, but just in general. Even we've had games that have been close when you've lost to Chicago and you barely beat Chicago recently in Atlanta and Charlotte. Who's calling these guys out to be like, yo, we stinking up the joint defensively. We got to be better. So that's what I'm curious for with this Knicks team. And as far as, I agree with you 100%. This has been a really good season. The Knicks are trending upwards, which is a good thing. We're not reverting backwards. We become a team that makes the playoffs, which is also a great thing as well. But I just want to see this Knicks team. I want to see more consistency.
You're 100% right. I need Brunson to do a lot more calling out on the court than doing sneak jabs on the podcast show. I need him to do that. It was a few games back where um Brunson being our best player. It was a few games ago where something won't go on right, and out of the timeout, Brunson gathered everybody around him and had an on court conversation with everybody, like on some captain type move. You know what I mean?
Right,
I need more of that. You got to be more of the captain than just being the best player. I
right,
need more of that, calling the team out, calling yourself out, doing that, and that huddle up. I felt like, yeah, he's raised his game to another level because now he's talking, and we don't really have guys talking and taking advantage of free time on the court. But you know what I'm saying? That was a timeout after the timeout. So I need him to do more of that, because you can't be happy and satisfied with what be taking place, especially like in the middle of the game, and like when Cleveland was doing what they was doing. Some point in time, we should have been. He should have been like, "Yo, what's going on?" Blah blah blah
right,
blah blah blah, getting at everybody instead of being okay with what's happening. No, it's not okay. So I need him to continue on being captain, than being our best player. And you're right, we do need another player that can go get his own bucket. Shout out to Lloyd Banks. Being the Twitter spaces with him, and he had brought it to attention. Towns is good. Towns is a good ball player. But what is his go-to signature move with the game on the line? You know what I'm
right,
saying? We already know what Brunson go-to moves, signatures. He got multiple, tools inside his tool bag that he can bring out to get a bucket. But we need another guy that's similar to, what Brunson can do when Brunson ain't doing what he do. And that's not to take anything from Towns, because he's still doing good and having a great season for the New York Knicks inside this New York area for his first
sure,
season. But when the game is crucial and the game is on the line, and you running your set, you're not running a play call, and it's getting late in the shot clock, 6 seconds left. I don't need you to pass the ball to one of them guys, Towns. I need you to get that shot off. I'll
right.
take a miss more than anything than to give it up, with the shot clock running out and we don't get a shot. You know what I'm saying? So there's a couple of things we need to do, but we need more fixing and more blames than what we got. I think we got more blames than the idea of thinking of what we need to fix, amongst, the fan base, but it's not going to work overnight, again, but You're 100% right. That's why I always try to come up here, and support and rock with you, what you're doing. And you talking about me grilling. You the chef. When you gonna cook something? You cook something. I'm coming because I know you're a chef. That you ain't just chefing on podcasts. You cooking now. I know you A1 status now.
Yeah, once the Knicks have we have a Knicks event. Hopefully if Sim have another barbecue or something, hopefully I can make it.
Right.
Yeah,
But I'm
make
gonna
it
ride out. I'm gonna
crispy.
get back with my guys. They're around the corner. We got 2 trucks around here. We offloading this, storage. Get ready to take somebody's storage and move this lady into her brand new house. This is what I do for a living. You know, um, I'm trying to promote everybody. You know what I'm saying? Stop using that boss word. That boss word. I'm a boss and this and that. That's played out. I need all of us to start working towards becoming owners, having your own, what I'm saying, where you hire your own and, what I'm saying, and living like that instead of being bosses. And this is what I got, I got a group assistant home. I got a moving company and I got a delivery service. So this is what I do for, to support me and my household and my family and also give jobs to people, what I'm saying, that can't get jobs other places, what I'm saying, can't get hired for whatever background or whatever they skills, what I'm saying, they don't have. My duty is to this the same way guys brought me in and taught me to be able to give guys jobs who can't get jobs and also show them and teach them, what I'm saying, and give them a skill set and pay them, accurately how they supposed to
Right.
get paid. You know what I'm saying? All my guys on my moving crew, they make $30 an hour. There's no other moving company. I don't care what city you at, where guys get $30 an hour. You know what I'm saying? And when they work on Saturday and Sunday, they get paid for those days. They don't get paid, along weekly like they do Monday through Friday. Whatever jobs we do on Saturday and Sunday, you get paid cash for it that day. So, it's almost like you're getting paid twice in 1 week. But God bless everybody. Everybody have a great rest of your day. You know what I'm saying? Let's get a victory. You know what I'm saying? Biggie said victory. I need that. Lloyd Banks remixed. He said victory. Let's get a victory today, man. God bless everybody. Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S. Please keep doing what you do, girl.
You too, J Boogie.
Yep.
Appreciate you. I heard him hit that like button. Yeah, I think that the Knicks, like he said, we can't continue to keep putting the blame game. We can blame all we want. And I think that he has a point. We have to figure out the Knicks front office have to figure out how to fix this. And they're trying to do that, right? I trust the front office. I trust what they do. I know that they're probably going to do something that's going to shock the hell out of all of us this summer. And we won't see it coming. I'm sure there's going to be things that's going to be circulating, but I won't be surprised during the summer if we see something from Shams or Ian Begley talking about breaking news. The Knicks just traded or acquired whoever. So it's going to happen. I'm very confident the Knicks are going to make some type of moves this offseason because this is not it. So, yeah. Shout out to Amid Belford. Salute to you. Says, salute, ladies. Our coaching is the issue with this team. His coaching philosophy is outdated, and he's too rigid with the minutes of his starters and his lack of confidence and willing to play his younger players. I'm assuming you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, I think Tibbs is part of the issue as well. I'm not anti-Tibbs, but I'm not fully um always on board with Tibbs and his his style of coaching. I think it is for sure outdated. I think Tibbs has a huge trust issue. And I think that hurts this team at times. I think sometimes his decision making is a little questionable. The Knicks will be up by 2025 and you still have some of this hefty amount of the starters in with like 5 minutes left. Why are they finishing out the game if you're up? Just let it go. So this way you don't have to worry about an injury. Like you don't have to keep Brunson in the entire game every game. Hit him up NYNJ said, energy and effort is all we need. Agreed. On a consistent basis. Ron Dude 1973, salute to you, says salute Knicks. Knicks, he said, salute. Knicks ain't winning no championship with Tibbs. And that's another thing I brought up. Tibbs hasn't proven that he can win a championship with a team. Tibbs has proven that he can bring teams that are awful to a top 5 team in the league in their prospective conference. He hasn't proven that he can win a championship. And that's still a question mark that I have with Tibbs for this team. I don't know if the Knicks can do it under Tibbs. Even if Tibbs has the right pieces in place, I'm not sure if they can do it under Tibbs. I think that they can have a great record, but I don't know if they'll have enough to get them to a championship under Tom Thibodeau. And not just because he hasn't won a championship, but his coaching style is very outdated. Parish Duggar. I need Tibbs to take some blame. He needs to take some real blame. Tibbs is not going to do that, unfortunately. He's just not. Yeah, a lot of you, I saw a few of you saying that you have the Celtics, the Knicks beating the Celtics today. You feel like it's going to be a tough matchup, a close one. I'm hoping that the Knicks can figure it out and beat them. You know, I mean, it's an early game. Come out with that energy. I'm looking for defensive stops. And, you know, we'll see what the Knicks can do. Then the Knicks play again on Wednesday. They play Philly. Philly has lost what, 7 games in a row. They've been struggling. I know Embiid was benched the last game just because they've been god awful. And then the Knicks play again on Friday against Memphis. And then they play Sunday against Miami. So I'm going to put the Knicks at, again, Boston today, Philly Wednesday, Memphis Friday, and Miami Sunday. I'm going to have the Knicks at, 3-1. Those are my predictions for this week. 3-1. Let me know y'all predictions for this week. I don't know. That one game, I feel like the one loss can come from either Boston, a toss up between Memphis or Miami. You never know with this Knicks team. But this month in March is a very challenging month of games that the Knicks have coming up. Then you have the Warriors, the Lakers, Clippers, Kings, Portland, Warriors again. Yeah. Knicks got some interesting matchups coming up, some challenging ones that I want to see the Knicks be able to take advantage and win. But that is it for me, everybody. I appreciate you all for rocking with me today, per usual. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Leave us a comment. You know, we always respond back to the comments, show some love, hit the notification button so you know when we're on. I should be on tomorrow for the Queen's Court with Stephanie, Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises, as well as Jeff Clafter from the Heavily Ever Clafter blog. I have to add Jeff's blog and Tony's link in the description of here. I'll make sure I do that. Check out his blog. He has like really dope reads for you if you guys want to, you know, take a good read if you have a chance. He writes on all things Knicks and other sports as well, but his blog is really good as well. So yeah, shout out to you all for joining me today. Kareem Grant, Wonder Woman, hit him up, NYNJ, J Boogie for joining me and showing love as well. Aj, always showing love. Parish Duggar, RJ, salute to you as well. And Rondu 1973, salute to everybody. Amid Belford as well. And those of you who are watching but not active in the chat, salute to you and salute to the replay gang for watching. And shout out to Diva Locks. Hopefully she's not out shopping, as Jay Boogie said. No, she's not out shopping, but she should be on our weekly episode throughout the week. So shout out to her as well. I'm sure she'll be listening to the replay. And to those of you, everybody have a great week, and we'll see. We have a lot to talk about with the Knicks, so I'll be chatting with you guys and taking my notes. And hopefully the Knicks can get a W. I'm looking forward to them doing that. But yeah, until next time, everybody, have a great